Hi friends, happy weekend and welcome back to another video. This weekend we're going to be doing a Q&A, but we're going to need to make some coffee before we sit down and get to business. Coffee first. Well, I hope you have gotten all cozied up with your favorite drink or snack because we are going to hop right on into the Q&A for this video. I realized right as I was sitting down that I have my questions on my phone, and if you don't know, my phone is also my camera for all of these videos. So I went and dug out my old iPad and it is charging up right now. Also, when I was thinking about making this Q&A, I know I wanted to do something a little bit different. We're gonna do like a normal kind of a Q&A, but we're gonna toss in something a little bit unusual, I think, for most Q&As I've seen. So be sure to stick around for that part as well, if you want to. Also, I want to say right from the get-go, a big thank you to everyone who submitted questions. Most of the questions I'm going to be answering today are going to be from a post I put over on the community tab. So if you haven't checked that out before, now might be a good chance to do that. I'm also going to be going back and pulling out some of my favorite questions from different videos over time and answering them here as well. Okay, so without further ado, let's hop on into it. Alright, so our first question is about my previous travel rig, specifically asking what did I travel out of before I had my truck and my camper. Well, I've had two previous travel rigs myself. The first was a 23-foot Passport Elite travel trailer, a bumper pull travel trailer. It was really nice. It was just kind of cumbersome for longer drives, didn't get very good gas mileage, as you can probably guess. And then also it was prohibitive of going to certain areas just because the length of the rig of the truck that I had at that time, plus the travel trailer, pretty long of a rig. It was a really good home for me. I lived full-time out of that trailer from July of 2020 through about March of 2021. After that, I went to part-time camping for the next year or so, and that's when I had my minivan camper. My minivan camper was out of a 2007, I want to say, Toyota Sienna. Really good, really reliable. The back row seats would fold down flat entirely, and I pulled out the two second row seats, so there was a lot of space in there. I put in a cot and some other things, and it was comfortable. It was pretty bare bones, but it was really comfortable in there. It was those past experiences with a pretty large rig and then a really small rig that I really was able to kind of hone in on what was important to me and get a very ideal rig for my travel setup. Alright, so that brings us to our second question. What was the furthest distance and the longest trip I have taken? I'm assuming this question is asking more about camping traveling. I have done some international travel over to Europe before, which would definitely be the furthest away that I have gone. As far as camping travel goes, my longest trip and my furthest trip, they're the same one, as you might imagine. It was for about 9 weeks, and I want to say that we went probably about 10,000 miles. In that trip, I was really exploring the western part of the United States and the Rocky Mountains. I spent most of my time in Colorado and Wyoming, but I also spent some time in Utah, Montana, and South Dakota. It's a great trip. And this is not charging as fast as I hoped it would. I'm just gonna go plug it inside. Save my Jackery battery for later. All right, I took a peek at the questions. Let's answer some about the camper. First question is about driving the camper around, specifically backing up, asking if it is difficult and if it took me a lot of practice to be able to do that. Honestly, driving the truck camper is not nearly as challenging as I was concerned it was going to be. Before I bought the truck, my regular car that I drove around is a Toyota Corolla, so it is a pretty small sedan. To go from that to a full-size pickup truck with a truck camper on the top and then thinking about backing it up, I was a little bit concerned about that. But I mean, it is very different. I don't drive it the same way that I drive my Corolla. But so far I have found as long as I'm going slow, especially around curves, and taking it easy and being careful and thoughtful, it's not really that difficult to drive. As far as backing up goes, it's a lot easier to back up a truck camper than you might think. 'Cause it's not like you have a trailer back there that's going to be going, you know, and you have to think, okay, if I turn this way, it's going to go that way. It's a lot easier. Being able to see visibility, of course, is a big issue. I do have a backup camera that I use when I'm backing up my campers. That helps for sure. But what I'm gonna do regardless, if I'm in an area that I'm not familiar with, I'm gonna get out and walk around before I try and back my truck camper into a tight space. I totally reserve the right here to change my mind, but so far I think the biggest difference is haven't really been the backing up so much as it just has been making sure to be slow when going around curves. Okay, so our next question also about the camper is how stable are those steps? If you haven't seen the video where I installed them, they are torque lift steps, they are stow and go, glow steps, I believe is what they're called. The steps themselves are super duper stable. They're really handy when you're traveling with an animal, so they can go in and out without having to be picked up and taken down. With these kind of like step style stairs that you can get for a truck camper, I've seen two different varieties. One where you attach them on and take them off every time you go to move, and one that is supposed to be a permanent fixture there. Mine are the ones that are supposed to be a permanent fixture. I have been taking them off though when I go down the road, just because my camper, unlike a lot of others that I see, doesn't have any kind of bumper on the back. So I did have to get like a custom piece of angle iron to attach them on the camper. After I put it on there, my dad and I thought about it some more and thought maybe the piece of angle iron we got hadn't been big enough to be stable enough as I went down the road with all the jostling for those stairs to really be secure and not potentially cause damage to the camper. So for now, as I'm traveling with the truck camper, I am taking the stairs off as I go down the road. That's just going to be an easy fix though, eventually getting a bigger piece of angle iron, attaching it to more of the bottom of the camper to distribute the weight more. But when the stairs are attached and I'm parked and I'm using them, super duper stable. Ellis, come here. 1 second. Okay, and we are back again. Sorry about that. There's been a stray dog around here, which is unfortunately pretty common. Ellis has decided this one is bad news, so as soon as I saw it, I put her inside. I put out some food for him. He's been pretty shy so far. Such a pretty dog. Beautiful, like a red husky. If he's hungry, I think he saw me put the food out. Same place I put it yesterday, so maybe he'll come get it. Hopefully he doesn't get scared off of me sitting out here. So I refilled my coffee. This finally got enough battery to turn on. This will be easier now that I actually have the questions. Okay, our next question is, do you plan on replacing your refrigerator? That's a good question, and the answer in a word is yes. I do plan on replacing the refrigerator. I'm taking my time with doing that, kind of procrastinating, dragging my feet a little, if you will, just because I know it's going to be complicated. For example, the refrigerator that is in there currently cannot come out in one piece. It is too large to go through the door, so I am going to have to somehow break it to get it out. Which means I won't obviously be able to replace it with one the same size. If I could even find one the same size, it's not going to go in through the door. I don't really want to do one of the chest style refrigerators, just because I do want something that's going to roughly go back into that same spot, even if it's a little bit smaller, slightly different dimensions. I want something to go back into that spot in the wall. So I've been doing some research trying to find ones that seem like they might fit, they might work. I just haven't decided yet. So the answer is, in the long run, yes. In the short term, I'm just going to keep using my cooler until I can make a decision and figure out what I'm going to do. All right, so our next question is actually one I've gotten from some previous videos, asking me if I'm going to be putting in things like a microwave or a TV into the camper. No, I'm not. The camper actually did have a microwave in it when I got it. I still have the microwave. I could put it back in if I wanted to. I just don't really feel the need for it right now. As far as having a television in the camper goes, no, I don't think I'm going to put one in, just because that's not really something that's important to me, at least right now. If I want to watch something like a movie or something, I can watch it on my iPad or my phone or my laptop. I have a lot of other devices, a lot of other screens I can watch off of that's not a television. So that would just be an additional thing, an additional cost to put in the camper. Let's see what else we got. Okay, so I got a couple questions on the community post, as well as just on different videos, about what I do for a living and how I afford to travel and do all of this. What I do for a living is honestly not all that interesting. I have a traditional 9 to 5, well, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday job. I work in higher education. I am staff, so I'm not a teacher, but I do work in education. It really does work out very well for me. But it's not necessarily going to work for everybody. It's not like the one size fits all answer, because you do have to have quite a bit of background, and you have to have at least a bachelor's degree. Myself, I do have a master's degree for the position that I am in. Unless you're trying to do full-time travel, having a fully remote job isn't necessarily necessary. For me, my job is in person here in my local area, but really what I found is having a workplace environment where I'm able to get, you know, larger chunks of time off, and they're really flexible and accommodating to my time off requests. That has been really big for me. They do allow some flexibility with working remotely at different times of the year, so that works out really well for me as well. That's not going to work for every job, but I think that unless somebody's wanting to travel like constantly full time, looking at even some quote unquote traditional type jobs can be really beneficial if somebody's wanting something that will allow them a bit more freedom and flexibility, like I have found with my position. What else do we have here? Okay, so our next question is kind of related. It's a really good question. Do you think if the YouTube channel takes off, you will go full-time? I'm assuming this means full-time travel. I guess it could mean full-time on YouTube as well. So I guess I'll answer both questions to make sure I've covered all bases. Would I do full-time travel? I would definitely travel more. I think I would more travel seasonally to different places where I knew I could have a home base and I would have stable internet that I could use. I could see myself doing that. Going full-time on YouTube, I don't know. There's definitely an appealing part to that, right? Is being in charge of creative decisions and your own schedule and all of that kind of stuff. Super appealing. Being able to devote more time to all of this would be awesome. But the main drawback, of course, with something like that is the lack of stability. I don't see myself doing it full-time, at least not right now. I'm not really a big planner person though with stuff like that, so I tend to kind of go with the flow. So once again, I reserve the right to change my mind. So the next question says, if it's not too personal, what state do you live in? It looks very nice and green. Thank you. It is beautiful here. Yes, I totally agree. That's a good question. I've honestly been thinking about this one. I saw it when you posted it, and I've been thinking about it kind of ever since. As strange as it may seem to hear me say this as somebody who posts about my life on the internet, I do really value my privacy. Even when I'm out camping, I don't share my locations that I go camping, the names of the campgrounds or anything like that, for security and privacy reasons. When I think about this question, and I think, would it in any way benefit my channel for me to share the answer to that? I mean, I don't really know. I may still answer this question at some point in the future, but I think what I'm going to say for now, Because I think what this question is really getting at is not necessarily wanting like my zip code or something like that, but it's just kind of curious about the area in which I live. So here's what I'm going to say about it. I live in the southern part of the United States. I live in an area with a lot of pine trees, high temperatures in the summer, high humidity, relatively high humidity anyway, relatively low in elevation. So when I go up in the mountains, it is a total shock. I always know to expect it, but it's still a total shock when I get up there and feel like, oh, breathing is a challenge here, even just sitting here. I have lived in this area my entire life and I love it here. I can't ever really imagine myself going away and staying away permanently. I can see myself leaving seasonally for sure, but leaving this area and not returning, I can't see that in my future at all. Okay, and we're back again. Sorry about that. The stray dog was running around here by the house and one of the neighbors was trying to catch it. It ran off though, again, back into the woods, so maybe we'll get it next time. It's just not safe for the dog to be out here with the road right there and then the woods. I mean, there's coyotes and stuff that live out there, so I'm gonna have to do something about him eventually. Get him inside, get him taken care of. I think for now all he's really gonna accept is some food, so hopefully he gets that here in a little bit. Trying to see if he's over there right now, but can't tell. Okay, what were my next questions? Oh, actually my next questions were about Ellis. So that was actually a pretty good transition there. So our first question about Ellis is, can I ask how old Ellis is and how long you've been together? Absolutely. I love this. Talking about her is my favorite thing. Ellis was born late April, early May in 2020. So at this point, she is actually almost 4 years old, which is so hard for me to believe. I got her in November of 2020. So she was about 6 months old when we met and I was able to bring her home. Another question I've gotten about Ellis in some of my previous videos is what kind of dog breed is she? I really don't 100% know. Based on my observations of her and her personality and what I was told when I adopted her, I am fairly confident that she is an Australian Shepherd and Blue Heeler mix. Are you angry at me? Why? You hungry? Come here. Oh, sweetie, I just want to help you. What else can we do? Okay, so that pretty much brings us to the end of the regular Q&A part of this Q&A video. Again, thank you so much to everybody who put in the questions. I really appreciate them. I had fun answering them. I hope you guys had fun watching this part of the video. Now we're gonna do something a little bit different. So bear with me and let's go inside for a minute. This is really good. Alright, so what I want to do for this part of the video is what we could call, I guess, like a reverse Q&A a little bit. I had some questions I wanted to ask you guys, so that's what we're gonna do right now. Really, the way that I see this channel is that it is a community where we can engage with each other, and part of that engagement is a back and forth between me and you guys. So I wanted to just kind of open the dialogue in the comments of this video with a couple of questions. Because to be honest, my favorite videos on my own channel are the ones that get a lot of comments, because I really enjoy going out there and answering all of y'all's comments and questions. This, for example, is a comment that I got on a video where I was making oatmeal, and I asked you guys for some oatmeal combination suggestions, and you guys really came through and gave me a lot of great suggestions. So don't be surprised if you see me trying out more oatmeal combinations in upcoming videos. This one here has some cinnamon, honey, raisin, and apple pieces. I hadn't thought before of putting fresh apple into my oatmeal, and I have to say, it's a winner. I have to stop eating this long enough to ask my questions. Okay, I have two questions for you guys. My first question is, what is your favorite easy to make meal? I am not much of a cook, as you can probably guess by the meals you've seen me make before when out camping on this channel, but I really am wanting to learn some more basic kinds of things that I could make when I am out camping. And I don't have a large kitchen, and I don't have, you know, a giant pantry with every seasoning under the sun. So what are some of your favorite simple meals to make? Don't be surprised if I ask you some follow-up questions or for a recipe, and also don't be surprised if you then see me end up making it. So question number 2, what has been some of your favorite content on the channel, and what would you like to see more of in the future? More travel videos, more explanation videos, more project videos, like whatever it is, whether it is something we have or haven't done before, just let me know what you think you would enjoy seeing some videos like in the future, and that'll give me some ideas as we continue on down this journey together. So as always, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching these videos. Thank you for engaging with me in the comments and the community tab. I really do appreciate it. I promise I read every single comment and I respond to as many as I can. Thank you so much for being here. See you again next weekend. Bye for now. If you haven't seen them, I have the Stow and Glow no. That would have been a disaster. I'm just going way off track. Okay, let's start over.